hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power. We are fighting those same evils today. And we need to be clear, shamelessness is not and will never be a superpower. It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do.
The funniest thing about Trump's presidency is that it doesn't need exaggeration to be hilarious. He already lives like a cartoon character, sketched by a bored animator on their lunch break. Jim Carrey doesn't even have to parody him. Trump arrives prepackaged as a walking joke of leadership, blustering through history with the confidence of a man who thinks Air Force One is just an oversized golf cart. It's political theater with no rehearsal, no costume, and definitely no script.
We have a president who started out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb, destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring it on the panel for this.
He's a car salesman. He's a used car salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back the odometer. So who knows what the hell is wrong with us?
Carrey zeroes in on the absurdity of Trump's face alone. Every smirk, squint, and over-rehearsed pout feels like it belongs to a children's puppet show that got canceled after one episode. His expressions never fit the seriousness of the moment. They fit the energy of a guy just caught cutting the buffet line. He's the only world leader who can walk into a summit with global powers and somehow still look like he's trying to sell discount steaks at a strip mall.
If anything, we've got to get back to a place where we realize that a vote is not who you are. And because you voted Republican, you're not stupid, you're not different, you're not worthless. I could break bread with anybody who voted for Trump. We could find some common ground to love each other through, So, just stop doing stupid shit!
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Trump's speeches are pure cartoon chaos. Instead of offering real policy, he tosses out random statements like a magician pulling rabbits from hats. Except the rabbits are half-baked claims that collapse the moment anyone checks the facts. Carrey turns it into perfect slapstick. A president juggling flaming torches of misinformation, while insisting everything's fine, even as the stage behind him burns. There's no reassurance, no strategy, just improv night at the world's most dangerous comedy club.
Thinking was, it all comes down to this case of narcissistic personality disorder. We've all talked about it since you've been on the public scene. But we see it in real time. Somebody really unraveling, spiraling toward madness.
So I'm an asshole? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. We're talking
you're not talking about
The irony, of course, is that Trump insists he's the smartest man in the room, while sounding like someone who forgot there was a test at all. He turns basic facts into riddles, as if mispronouncing a country's name somehow makes him an expert on foreign policy. Carrey mocks it with the manic energy of Ace Ventura diagnosing a sick parrot. Loud, erratic, and completely detached from reality. Trump doesn't speak to inform anyone. He speaks to reassure himself that he's still in charge, even as everything around him unravels.
Trump.
This whole thing has brought back my 8-year-old self. It's been a gift from God. It's literally brought me back to 8 years old, where I used to sit in my room. Trump is toast.
Yeah, man. And so you just kind of digest the news of the day.
It's an affirmation.
Robert Mueller.
Robert Mueller putting the squeeze on the president. Just to relieve.
And control is exactly what Trump never had. Every decision feels like it came from a man consulting a magic 8-ball instead of a cabinet. Carrey mocks his impulsiveness by imagining him in meetings, shaking toys for guidance instead of reading reports. One day it's tariffs, the next it's tweets, and the day after that, it's a tantrum that sends markets into chaos. Leadership requires foresight. Trump operates purely on reflex, and almost always the wrong ones.
There was a tape of him talking to Bob Woodward, right? We heard that this week. At the end of it, he gets a little frustrated and he says, well, accurate is that nobody's ever done a better job than I'm doing as president. He says, how can you...
Job of what? Job of what? Demolition Man?
Right.
There's nothing left! That lawn is clear!
When it comes to loyalty, Trump runs the White House like a reality show elimination round. Staffers don't govern, they grovel. knowing their job security depends on how enthusiastically they clapped during his latest ramble. Carrey turns it into circus satire, imagining the ringmaster firing the clowns mid-performance and replacing them with elephants. By the end of each season, the cast changes so fast, it feels like the credits of a bad sketch show scrolling live. Trump's obsession with optics only sharpens the absurdity. To him, outcomes don't matter. Applause does. Policy isn't measured in results, but in crowd reactions. Carrey mimics him striking dramatic poses for cameras, while the chaos of governance smolders behind him. A man more concerned with lighting than leadership. He takes it even further, pantomiming Trump yanking slot machine levers every time he meets a foreign leader. The jackpot's always the same. Awkward handshakes, strained smiles, and a global reminder that America somehow cast a game show contestant as its president.
That'd be great.
Who was the teacher you draw pictures of? Do you remember his name?
Mrs. Gervais. And she
and?
was a super, ultra hip teacher.
Oh.
Literally, like grade 6, she was, first of all, I was at the back of the classroom drawing pictures of her getting like attacked and missiled and axes in her head and things like that. Yeah. It's like, I hadn't learned how to be correct yet. Yeah, she took them all.
Oh, she confiscated them.
Kind of scalded me, but not really. And then once I got famous, she sent them all back to me.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice
So
thing to
she
do.
saved them because she knew what was going to happen in the world, Jimmy. She knew.
She knew?
She knew.
The economy under Trump turns into pure slapstick. He brags about numbers he doesn't understand, celebrates job growth while millions still struggle, and takes credit for every success while blaming everyone else for his failures. Carrey plays it like a vaudeville routine. Trump gleefully counting stacks of monopoly money while the real register is being emptied behind him. It's theater of the absurd, dressed up as economic policy. And then there are the scandals, an endless assembly line of chaos. Trump doesn't just stumble into controversy. He manufactures it like it's part of his brand. Each week brings a fresh outrage, scripted as if written for late-night comedy. Carrey nails the image, performing Trump as a carnival barker shouting, "Step right up, folks!" Brand new scandal. Bigger than yesterday, guaranteed to blow your mind. The absurdity never stops. It's chaos as a business model, powered by denial. The pandemic exposed the farce more than anything. Trump turned crisis briefings into open mic nights, improvising as if reality were optional, and the script had vanished in disappearing ink. Even on climate change, his obsession with image turned disaster into comedy, waving off rising seas and burning forests like they were bad press instead of global emergencies.
Right? That even if it's not, even if he's not worth $10 billion, he must be worth like $1 billion as opposed to, a few million, or as opposed to being in debt a few million, right?
He reported 100 and he was worth 5.
Right.
So that's the ratio of truth to bullshit with Trump. Basically, anything he says is 20 to 1. Okay? It's 20.
Carrey nails the absurdity by mimicking Trump tossing a green carpet over a flood and proudly declaring the problem solved. For Trump, optics matter more than oceans, and perception replaces preparation. The environment isn't a priority. It's just another backdrop for a photo op. His rallies, meanwhile, turn into grotesque self-parodies. Trump rants to his followers as if sheer volume equals truth, recycling the same lines like a comedian bombing, but refusing to leave the stage. Carrey imagines him as a lounge singer who's forgotten the lyrics but keeps belting noise because the band won't stop playing. These aren't political events. They're ego festivals disguised as patriotism, designed less to inspire a nation than to feed one man's addiction to applause. Even his relationship with the media becomes unintentional comedy. Trump rages against reporters while obsessively devouring every headline. He hates the attention he can't live without. Carrey turns it into slapstick. Trump furiously flipping through newspapers, shouting at the coverage, only to tuck them lovingly under his pillow at night. The contradiction doesn't need exaggeration. It's already its own joke. And then there's the myth of Trump's strength, which collapses under Carrey's parody. In Trump's world, strength means shouting louder, pouting harder, and posing longer. He mistakes bluster for bravery and intimidation for leadership, a caricature of toughness undone by its own insecurity.
This administration is a rabid dog, and it's turning us upside down. And all, as far as I'm concerned, it's as obvious as the nose on your face, But people have made these elections and politics in general who they are, and it's not who you are. You can make a bad decision about a candidate. It's not who you are. It doesn't mean you're dumb.
Carrey brings it to life with exaggerated chest thumping, puffing himself up like a cartoon rooster in a barnyard brawl he started but can't finish. The image is perfect. Trump all feathers. No fight. True strength requires substance, and he's got none. Then comes the constant victimhood. Trump complains endlessly about unfair treatment while holding more power than anyone else in the country. He casts himself as the underdog in a system built to serve him. Carrey turns that delusion into tragic comedy, a sitcom character sulking because he didn't get invited to prom. It's theater of self-pity, a man addicted to grievance in a job that demands grit. Even his grasp of history becomes a joke. He mangles facts, confuses timelines, and references past presidents like he skimmed their bios while waiting for a flight. Carrey plays it out with Trump standing before Mount Rushmore, guessing who's who, and proudly congratulating himself for getting 2 out of 4 right. The bit works because it's not fiction, it's reflection. Trump's ego isn't just a character flaw, it's the driving force behind every chaotic turn of his presidency. Every decision is filtered through a single question. How will this look on TV? Policy takes a backseat to performance, and governance dissolves into spectacle, all in pursuit of one more round of applause.
Kathy Griffin just got herself in a hell of a lot of trouble. As a comic, as a writer, as a comedian, as a performer, what do you think of that, and should people forgive her?
I'd see that everybody's a hypocrite because everybody's imagined themselves standing there with his head. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe at least half the country. You know, we're in a tough spot. It's a very, very divided world, and those on I guess you'd call it the left side. I just call it the sensible side. Is, you know, we're sitting there watching this nonsense happen, and people like Sean Spicer come out and talk about it like we're kindergartners, you know, and covering for this president is like putting...
Trump's policies aren't designed to solve real problems. They're written to keep his name in the headlines. Jim Carrey paints him as a man who believes history itself is just a backdrop for his self-promotion, as if centuries of struggle and progress are merely the opening credits to his personal reality show. The presidency, in his hands, isn't about leadership, it's about stagecraft. Trump doesn't act like a steward of the nation. He performs as the star of a never-ending production, where the public's only role is to applaud on cue. Carrey skewers this delusion with sharp precision, imagining Trump running cabinet meetings like casting calls, hunting for supporting actors who won't outshine him no matter how unprepared they are. The administration doesn't function like a government. It moves like an improv troupe, where the only rule is that every scene must end with applause for the lead. At the podium, Trump waits for a laugh track that never comes. His answers sound less like policy and more like performance, meant not to clarify, but to impress. Not to inform, but to inflate. The American people tune in expecting leadership and leave feeling like they've just sat through a one-man variety show with no encore worth remembering.
I can break bread with anybody in this country. I love people in this country. I love the heartland of this country. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, it's become obvious that the choice was a bad one. We just need to change it. And if you can't vote for a Democrat, at least let all this flood of information that's so negative and so obvious.
The economy under Trump turns into pure slapstick. He brags about numbers he doesn't understand, celebrates job growth while millions still struggle, and takes credit for every success while blaming everyone else for his failures. Carrey plays it like a vaudeville routine. Trump gleefully counting stacks of monopoly money while the real register is being emptied behind him. It's theater of the absurd, dressed up as economic policy. And then there are the scandals, an endless assembly line of chaos. Trump doesn't just stumble into controversy. He manufactures it like it's part of his brand. Each week brings a fresh outrage, scripted as if written for late-night comedy. Carrey nails the image, performing Trump as a carnival barker shouting, "Step right up, folks!" Brand new scandal, bigger than yesterday, guaranteed to blow your mind. The absurdity never stops. It's chaos as a business model, powered by denial. The pandemic exposed the farce more than anything. Trump turned crisis briefings into open mic nights, improvising as if reality were optional, and the script had vanished in disappearing ink. Even on climate change, his obsession with image turned disaster into comedy. waving off rising seas and burning forests like they were bad press instead of global emergencies.